ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। So last time we had discussed about chapter number 9 and today we are discussing chapter number 10. So this is one of the favorite chapters and one of the most interesting chapters. So why is it so? So let us go into it and see. Yeah. So I'm not going to do the revision of previous chapter, but you may recollect as we had discussed at length, especially the last part, the glories of bhakti. And today we'll be seeing this 10th chapter in 3 parts. I do not know how much we'll be able to cover, but let us see that. So source, Krishna is source of everything in the first part, and then the essence of Gita, which is Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita is a series of 4 verses in this chapter number 10, which have been designated or termed as Gita in nutshell. Gita in nutshell means if one knows these 4 verses, then it is like a zip file, and when you open it and expand upon it, then that knowledge is essentially containing the entire knowledge of all the 18 chapters. It's true, not in the sense of all the principles and all the details, but from the application point of view, these 4 verses contain the entire Gita in a nutshell from the application point. And then in the last part of Gita, that is 12th to actually 39. It is not 42. It is 39. Last 3 verses are like summary. So in that sense, they also fall into the third part only. But basically, it is 12 to 39 that Krishna teaches various ways to perceive him all around us, everywhere. Okay, so this part will be able to go quite quickly. And the verse number 40 is like Krishna explaining to Arjuna that now Anyway, how much I will describe, this much is sufficient. So after describing examples from 12 to 39. And then 41st, he gives a single principal statement covering all 12 to 39. So in general, he gives a statement 41, 41st verse. In 42nd, he concludes. Okay. So this is the summary of chapter number 10. So let us see. C. Let us see. SEE. Source of everything, essence of Gita, and everywhere. Okay. So try to recollect this this framework of this chapter. So the first part. So what is the connection between chapter 9 and chapter 10? So may I request one of the devotees to read this? Yeah, read this slide loudly. You can unmute yourself. Anybody.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Connection between chapter 9 and chapter 10. Krishna ends the 9th chapter with the imperative to fix the mind on Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 9.34. Man Manamava Mahabhakti. Therefore, chapter 10 describes the Lord's opulence on which a devotee can fix his mind and how to remember him when we see opulent, powerful, and beautiful things in this world.
Yeah. So when Krishna ends the chapter number 9 with this 9.34, that verse said, Manmana bhav madhyaji maha namaskuru. Mame Vaishya Satyam Te Pratijane Priyosmi. So Krishna is basically telling that the main thing about the Gita is that you should always remember me constantly. Now, how to do that in the heart of hearts? So Arjuna has this question naturally that Krishna, it's like theoretically I should remember you, or how exactly? So then Krishna begins the 10th chapter as an explanation and as guidelines that how exactly can you remember me. So therefore chapter number 10 has been termed as opulences of the absolute, भगवान की विभूतियां. तो okay, and especially those 12 to 39, because जो 12 to 39 है उसमें examples हैं कि जिससे आप अपने आसपास जब भी आप पानी भी पियोगे कल से तो भी आप you can remember Krishna. Even husband and wife, when they are uniting with each other physically in a sexual relationship, they can remember Krishna. It is so amazing actually. So that is why this chapter 10 is spoken. Okay, it's very practical. And then 8 to 11 actually helps us to remember Krishna in a very spiritual way, in a deeply appreciative way of Krishna's personality. Yeah, go ahead, Rana.
Conclusion of chapter 9 is that one should become a pure devotee of the Lord. Therefore, chapter 10 will increase our devotion by hearing more about Krishna's opulences.
So let us go ahead. So this is the first verse. You may also recite if you want. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bhuya Eva Mahabaho Shinu me Paramam Vacha Yatte Ham Priyamanaya Vakshyami Hitakamyaya. So I think it will be more beneficial if we show the Veda verse. Okay, I hope you are able to see now on your screen the verses directly. Listen again, Shinu me paramam vachah, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, for your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Paramam vachah, that knowledge which is even better than what I already explained. Name vidu suragana prabhavam nama harshaya ahamadirhi devanam maharishinam cha sarvasha. See, the first seed of all knowledge which Krishna is giving herewith is that he is telling that, see, I am supreme to anyone whom you may know, anyone else whom you may know, whether it is Brahma. See, here Brahma is also bowing down to Krishna. It is, in fact, in Brahma Samhita, you find that Ganesha, Durga, Shivji, practically there are verses for each of them. Maybe I can just show you a glimpse of that. It's always helpful to see that. First, we'll see of Ganesha. Yeah. So the verse number 50, which you see on your screen, Yat pada pallava yugam vinidhaya kumbha dvandve pranam samaye saganadiraja vignan vihantum alamasya jagatrayasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesha, upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all the obstacles on the path of progress of the three worlds. See, very simple. So, Lord Ganesha is also a devotee of Lord Krishna, and his all the powers are coming from Lord Krishna only, Lord Govinda only. Okay. So therefore, you see here that all the glory of Lord Ganesha, in fact, rests upon the grace of Govinda. This is very clear. Okay. Now we see the verse about Shivji. Kshiram yatha dadhi vikara vishesha yoga sanjayate nahi tata pradhagasti heto यह शंभुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither the same as nor different from its cause, viz. the milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. So Shivji is also a very special tattva transformation of Lord Govinda. Okay. So you see, this is also very clear. Then you see of Durga Devi also. सृष्टि स्थिति प्रलय साधन शक्ति रेखा छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभरति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. The external potency Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga. Bro, I'll just have to take one call. I'm sorry for it. I'll just take a minute. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So here we can talk about Mother Durga also. That she is also ultimately a devotee and dependent on Krishna. And in general also in the Gita, it really gives from Krishna only all of them are power, from Krishna all of them are. So you see, okay. So this is like uh, first look of Radha Krishna Satchidananda Govinda Saravaranam. So see, right, right away the first verse, very first verse of the Namaskar. Krishna, known as is a supreme Lord. He was a controller, Parama controller. Who is that? Brahma. So Krishna was eating lunch with all his cowherd friends. Okay. And, eating lunch, this insist that the cows in the house the most. Krishna, so it's simple. Okay. Tomato and just please and and some flour. Relationship. Friendly word, friendly line, ego-friendly relationship. Having this beautiful thing and suddenly it all come cast were no longer no longer and they became anxious. And they all were anxious. Krishna go on and search. And Krishna started looking around. So he was all around. He was wondering and was Krishna is ultimately he used to know Ichha Shakti. And he what happened was Brahmaji I noticed that everybody was able to because had one reverend well, that's what he was. Actually, Brahmaji has seen only Vishnu as a supreme God. So he had never seen Krishna directly like that. So he was how can this guy and he's Krishna take some of his friends around they the childhood days in India. So Krishna look, this is a wonderful thing for you. Leave expanded himself. Krishna expanded beautiful. Okay. Brahmaji stole all the gopas also. He kidnapped all of them. And he put them also into deep sleep, deep slumber. And again he hid them also into a cave. So now cows were gone, calves were gone, and all gopas were gone. And now Krishna started thinking, this is too much. Let me teach a good lesson to Brahma. He's also a living entity, should learn his part. So then Krishna expanded himself. And very soon from Krishna came all the gopas, exact replicas. In fact, the way they talked, the way they walked, everything, the way they dressed, which word they could not speak properly, everything was exactly the same. And the cows and the calves also. And it was almost like evening time. So Krishna started with all of them. Krishna started. So all the Krishna gopas and Krishna calves and Krishna himself. So all of them went back to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, all the mothers were waiting. All the cows were waiting. And this was a very special day. Very special day. You see, for all these years, around 8 years or so, till that time, all the mothers and all the cows, they had this one desire. They loved Krishna and they loved their own kids and their own calves. But they had this one desire when they would look at Yashoda, who had Krishna as her son. So all the other ladies would feel that, I also want Krishna as my son. I also want to offer that motherly love to Krishna. I also want to offer my milk, my own milk to Krishna. I also want to cook for Krishna every day. I also want to dress Krishna. I also want to please Krishna. I also want to protect Krishna. Like they would feel all these kind of desire. I also want to decorate Krishna. And all the mother cows, so they loved their calves and they loved Krishna. And when they would see Yashoda, so they would feel that if Krishna would be my child, my calves, or whatever, like, then I would give all the world's milk and all the world's love to Krishna. So they had this desire to serve Krishna unlimitedly. This was not a selfish desire. They just wanted to see Krishna more pleased, and they wanted to experience that joy of getting to serve Krishna very, very intimately. And Krishna is a wonderful personality. He loves to fulfill the desires of his devotees. Krishna does not need anything from us or from this world, but he accepts it when we offer it, using it as a medium to express our love. So what happened is that Krishna was looking for an opportunity to fulfill these desires of all the mothers and all the cows, and similarly all the elderly gopas looking at Nanda Maharaj having fatherly dealings with Krishna, so they also would have that desire. The bulls had the oxen; they also had this desire. So they also looked forward to having Krishna as their child and offering Krishna that Vatsalya Prem. So Krishna used this opportunity. So this evening, as the mother cows and the oxen, they welcomed the calves back, and as the mothers and the fathers, they welcomed their kids back from the forest, they observed that they were feeling unlimited attraction to their kids. They felt that kind of love and affection which they had never felt ever for their own kids. And they didn't kind of, they were not now looking at Krishna and Yashoda also, and with the sidelong glances, and so they were feeling so satisfied. In fact, milk was just bursting out of the mothers' bodies as they were embracing their sons. So they were wondering that why are we, but they were very happy. And this went on actually for quite a while. It went on for a year or so. And nobody noticed because they were all walking, talking, dealing, speaking, everything in the same way as they were before Brahmaji ever visited. Now, Brahmaji had gone for just 2 moments. But then his 2 moments, as per the law of relativity between his planet and the Earth planet, translate into an entire year on the Earth. His 1 moment, उनका एक क्षण यहाँ पर 6 महीना है. तो ब्रह्मा जी ने तो एक छोटा सा मिसचीफ किया 2 क्षणों के लिए. but it translated into an year of festivity here on the planet Earth. So when he visited back, now 1 year had transpired already, and Brahmaji thought, let me go and check out now again. So ब्रह्मा जी थॉट वो कृष्णा तो चकरा ही गया होगा उस समय देख के कि भैया सारे बछड़े कहाँ हैं और सारी गैया कहाँ हैं और सारे गोप लोग कहाँ हैं. But then when Brahmaji came, so like this is the time he's coming back. Okay, now he's seeing अरे सारे गोपास तो वही हैं और कृष्णा उनके साथ खेल रहे हैं फॉरेस्ट में और वो सारे काफ भी वहीं चल रहे हैं और ये सब प्रसाद ले रहे हैं. So what's happening now? All the four heads of Brahmaji were calculating and analyzing. What I mean, I thought I hid all of them. How did Krishna take out all of them? How did he know and this and that? He became totally confused. What's happening? So he thought, let me check out where I hid them. So then he went there in that cave, and all of them were there into the deep slumber, the divine slumber. Brahmaji had put them into a kind of special sleep, so they were still sleeping. बोले यार ये तो यही लोग हैं. These people are here only. So then was I an illusion seeing them there with Krishna in the forest? Again he went back. Then he saw they are there also. So this time he really got totally confused. What's happening? And it was at that point of time that suddenly he's okay. It was at this point of time that suddenly he saw that all the this was the picture. So you see here this gopas who were eating behind Krishna. I hope you are able to see. So suddenly in front of Brahmaji, all of the gopas became transformed into Vishnus. And all the calves also, because actually they were all Krishna gopas and Krishna calves. So they all transformed into Vishnus. अब ब्रह्मा जी ने आज तक एक ही विष्णु देखे थे उनके स्वामी. एक साथ इतने विष्णु देखे चकरा गए ब्रह्मा जी totally. All his four heads together could not comprehend what's happening. And then, if this was not sufficient, right in front of his eyes, all of those Vishnus, one by one, again went inside Krishna. And then only Krishna was there standing right in front of Brahma, playing on his flute. And Brahmaji was like, my God, this guy is really the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he bowed down his head, all his heads, and started singing glories of Krishna. That's how he got Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vritesha Suravira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So, in this way, the entire glorification of Krishna, Vrindavan, and Krishna's devotional service. So this is how Krishna actually taught Brahma also about his position. Similarly, there is Govardhan Leela. So you would have heard of Govardhan Leela. This is one of the most famous Leelas. It's coming next month. So Govardhan Puja is the day when this actually happened. It comes near Diwali. So traditionally, this Govardhan Puja is a very beautiful festival. आपने I don't know आप में से कितने लोगों ने देखा है इसे, लेकिन इसे बहुत अच्छे से उत्सव मनाया जाता है. तो in very short, if I have to discuss it, generally it takes like 3-4 hours actually to discuss it, but I have to discuss with you in less than 10 minutes. So हुआ क्या था? Krishna once observed that his father Nand Maharaj, who was the leader of all the cowherd community there in Vrindavan, so he along with other elderly elderly cowherd men and all, they were all busy in arranging some kind of big time yajna and all this bhoga and all the food stuffs and all these things. So then Krishna was wondering what's going on. So he asked So they said that, see, we depend a lot on rains. So these are all arrangements to do the yearly yajna to please Lord Indra, who is the god of rains. So that he is happy, and then our community can flourish by sufficient ample amount of rains. So Krishna said, really? Do you really think that you should worship Indra? Krishna said, actually, because you do your duties and your activities properly and your character is good. So because of punya, because of your punya, Indra is obliged to give you the rains. So there is no need to worship Indra. He is just a part of the system. So what you should do rather is that you should worship Govardhan. You should, because Govardhan is actually non-different from the Supreme Lord, and Govardhan actually supplies us with succulent grasses, green grasses for our cows, and the cows, they deliver very good milk. And also Govardhan supplies us with all the waters from its waterfalls, and because of which all our fields get nourished. So we should actually worship Govardhan. And Krishna was so sweet, and Krishna was indeed the Supreme Lord. So when he is speaking something, it's very difficult not to believe upon it. So actually, what Krishna spoke was right in one sense about Govardhan and cows and all. But what he spoke about the karma mimamsa philosophy, that because we do karma, so we are supposed to get the results, that was wrong actually. Because there is a hand of the Supreme, there is a hand of the demigods. But then Krishna wanted to make his point clear. And he didn't want to tell that he also has a hand into it and he is the Supreme. And so Krishna just avoided himself from the philosophical explanation. But he just ended up convincing all of them that they should not worship Indra and they should worship Govardhan instead. So they agreed. So Krishna said, what do? You pick up all these ingredients of what you had gathered to worship Indra with, and you use all of it to worship Govardhan. They said, how should we worship Govardhan? So then Krishna explained that first of all, you should gather lots and lots of foodstuffs. So you prepare lots of sabjis and many dals, kundas of dals, like lakes of dals, literally. And you should prepare stacks of chapatis and paranthas and puris. Okay, and then you should make hills of rice. White rice, pulao rice, yellow rice, and tomato rice, and coconut rice, and so many kinds of rice. And then you should make many sweets, varieties of sweets, thousands of sweets with milk products and with sugar and grains and with curd and with ghee and with this mawa, what you call it in English, I don't know, and with paneer and all these things. So Krishna said, with these simple ingredients provided by cow and Mother Earth, we can actually produce thousands of sweets and tens of thousands of varieties of preparations. That's Vedic cuisine. Krishna said, prepare all of them. Prepare chutneys and papads and salads and fruits and juices, and offer it all to Govardhan. they prepared this wonderful feast. And then, as Krishna said, there were huge expanses and expanses of foodstuffs all around. And then all of them together prayed to Govardhan along with Krishna. And Govardhan is actually non-different from Krishna. So Govardhan accepted all of it. In fact, right in front of their eyes, Govardhan manifested two arms, huge arms. And then it like scooped up the entire offering. Aniyo, give me more. So they were all happy, but they were also little surprised. Okay, give me more. Okay, more. So then they had actually prepared everything, whatever they had. So then they went to their fields and to their goshalas. They got more grains and more vegetables and more fruits and more rice and more milk and more sweets, everything more. Again they prepared and again they were offering. Again Govardhan took up all of them. Aniyor, give me more. Give me more? Aniyor, they said, Arey, and Krishna said, let us bring more. Bring more. So then they went to the nearby villages, the other villages outside Braja. And then there also people had already heard. So they got more ingredients. They all also came and joined in. And again, there were huge kundas and lakes of dals and curds and kadis and so many sabjis and all varieties of sweets and stacks of chapatis and parathas and pakodas and samosas. And it is said that there were so many items that even the demigods could not count. And again they offered it all to Govardhan. And again it took everything. Aniyor. अबे ये लोग तो अनियोर मतलब क्या है रे ये तो this is like this going on and on. You're supposed to be satisfied now. Then Krishna told them that actually Govardhan loves tulasi. So then they had this tulasi leaves. So he says even one tulasi if somebody offers patram pushpam phalam toyam yume bhaktaya prachati tadaham bhakti upratam ashnami prayatatmana. So then they offered this one tulasi leaf lovingly to Govardhan. He accepted that. He was totally satisfied. And then, to everyone's amazingly happy surprise, the entire bhoga which Govardhan had taken till now, everything came back right in front of their eyes together. And this time it was Mahaprasad. It was not bhoga anymore. It was already accepted by the Lord. This was Mahaprasad. So everybody was dancing with joy. And then Krishna said, now we must celebrate. How? So all the brahmanas started chanting the mantras, the Vedic hymns. The dancers started dancing. The vadya yantris, the musicians, they started playing the different instruments, and the veena, the sitars, the tablas, the क्या बोलते हैं उसको, okay, I don't know what they call in Hindi, but the trumpets, and all kinds of flutes, okay, all kind of other instruments, string instruments, and this entire atmosphere became so divinely surcharged. And then Krishna said, now we should distribute all the bhoga, all the prasad. So they started distributing it to cows, to their entire satisfaction, to cows, to calves, to monkeys, to birds, to dogs, to jackals, to everyone. Everyone around was totally filled with their satisfaction, with their heart's content. And then Krishna said that now we must celebrate by continuing our dancing and chanting and music and glorifying Govardhan. We should do circumambulation of Govardhan. We should do Govardhan Parikrama. And that is how originally this Govardhan Parikrama started, which even till today, so many people go and do in Vrindavan. And then they all started doing Govardhan Parikrama. Oh my God, it was the best time ever of all the Vrindavan Vasis together. And after that, everyone honored Prasadam together, and then they retired for the day. So the entire universe was happy, delighted. Govardhan was happy, cows were happy, Krishna was happy, Brajvasis were happy, Radharani was happy, even the peacocks were happy. So peacocks started dancing in joy, seeing Krishna. And they danced so nicely. Even Krishna saw their dance. Krishna also started dancing like them, and they became so excited. Oh, Krishna is happy. They started dancing more joyfully. Krishna started dancing more joyfully. They were copying each other. And the king of the peacocks, he became so grateful. He said, Krishna, you valued us. So we want to give you some gift, oh Krishna. And they said, actually, but we are simple birds. What do we have? But then people say that we have beautiful feathers. So maybe we'll just give you a good feather from our bodies. So this king of the peacocks, he got one of the best feathers from his own body and he offered to Krishna. And Krishna immediately valued it. See, Krishna values even a little offering of anybody. any of his devotees. So Krishna picked up that peacock feather and Krishna put it on his head. And Krishna said, in honor of all of your devotion, this peacock feather will always be there eternally on my head. In fact, anyone in future who will ever look at any peacock feather, he will always remember me naturally. So you see, Krishna is so amazing person. So everybody was happy. And Krishna was playing upon his flute, and everybody said, while that day ended, in the sunset, everybody was just remembering the entire day of festivities and how Krishna loved them. And actually, Govardhan is very wonderful. Krishna was explaining to them earlier in the day that Govardhan's service attitude, desire to serve is so high that when it is winter, so the rocks on the Govardhan, they become very warm, so that the cows, they very happy and very delighted, and the waterfalls, the water becomes very, very warm, and the grass is very succulent and grows more, so the cows are satisfied. And in the summers, the same rocks, they become cool for the cows and the gopas. And Govardhan has so many minerals of different colors, gems and stones for the gopas to play with. And the same Govardhan provides a wonderful what do you call groves, the kunjas, where Krishna can perform intimate leelas with the gopis. So Krishna said that this Govardhan is actually the best devotee, the best servant of everyone. So that is why you should worship Govardhan. Now everyone was happy, just one person was very, very miserable and very unhappy. In fact, he was very angry, very upset, and that was Indra. How come this little blue boy, how dare he has stopped the offerings and the rituals, the worship, the respect which was offered to me, the due respect which I deserve, which was offered to me all these days as a tradition every year. And now this little boy comes and says whatever he wants, I will destroy him. And I will destroy this Vrindavan which is very dear to him. And I will destroy all these people, the Brajavasis. How dare they disrespect me, they neglect me. What do they think of themselves? Let me teach them a lesson. Now let the entire world know who I am for real. And then he called for the Samvartaka clouds, the devastating clouds which actually are deployed at the time of when the universe is to be destroyed, and then when the new universe has to be created, the partial annihilation. So these clouds have the ability to practically drown the entire planet and flood it with all their waters and practically bring it to a halt, to an end. But then they knew this was not the right time. And clearly, Indra was filled with ego, arrogance, and stupidity. They didn't want to be a part of this kind of mischief of Indra. That too towards Krishna and the dearmost devotees of Krishna. But then Indra was chastising them, Indra was ordering them. And Indra said that you have to do this. And in anger and in ego, in selfishness, Indra just could not understand what is right, what is wrong. And so he said, go and flood the entire Vrindavan, entire Braj. And so they went. And Indra himself came right behind them and made sure that they did. So there were torrential rains. There were not drops of water. There were pillars of water falling from the sky. And the entire Vrindavan was like hither and thither. People were running around, people were screaming. All the cows, they were running for where to find shelter. The little kids, they were crying, they were clutching on to their parents, and the parents were wondering what's going to happen just in next few minutes. So then naturally they just approach Krishna. Bhaja Re Mana Shri Nandanandana abhaya charana ravindame. So they approached Krishna and they started asking him, Krishna, 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 Mahabaho, hey Krishna, oh mighty one, please do something. So then Krishna immediately understood, oh, this Indra is doing mischief. Just like Brahma, this Indra also now, it seems, has become proud of his own position. He has forgotten me. Actually, whenever we forget Krishna and whenever we forget that everything we have is coming from Krishna and the goal of life is to worship Krishna, then we act in a very strange way, in a very proud way, in a very egoistic way. So Krishna understood that about Indra, and Krishna had a heart that let me help Indra come out of his pride and actually experience humble service attitude, a humble affection for me and for all others. That way he can be happy and everyone can be happy. So Krishna actually wanted to help Indra become purified of his false ego, as well as he wanted to protect and give delight to the entire Vrindavan Vasis. So in that way, Krishna said to all Vrindavan Vasis, oh, do not worry. Come. Then Krishna took all of them and went to Govardhan. Krishna said that, see, we worship Govardhan, so Govardhan will protect us. And so as they went to Govardhan, Krishna picked up with his bare fingers and hands, Krishna picked up Govardhan. And then like this, Krishna started walking right in the middle of Govardhan, below Govardhan. And everybody was wondering. And Krishna said, come behind me. And they had that faith in Krishna. They just walked right under the Govardhan into the center, right into the center of the entire mass. They just walked. And then Krishna saw a small hillock type of few feet, like what you see here in the picture. And then Krishna stood on that, and just to tease Indra that you may be trying your best, but the tip of my nail of my little finger of my left hand is sufficient. So then Krishna did like this, and he lifted Govardhan. And Govardhan was right on the top of Krishna's hand, and so from above, Indra was showering torrential rains continuously, and below, all the Brajvasis, the entire Braja had come, all the cows, all the calves. See here in this picture, you can see everyone is there. Nanda Maharaj, the elderly Gopas, the bulls, the deer. Or the deer are not shown here, but they are there because the deer were also dear to Krishna. All the animals were there, and all his friends were there. Okay. Yashoda Maiya was there, and oh my God, you see, everyone had this desire in Vrindavan that I do not want to have any what do you say? Like I want to continuously be with Krishna. I don't want any stoppage in the middle. I don't want any breaks. So now Krishna was there with them 24 hours, 24/7. Really. So for next 7 days and 7 nights, Indra continued, went on and on, deployed all his full potential, full power. And if those clouds and those thunderstorms and those waters were not sufficient, Indra started using his thunderbolt. And one thunderbolt of Indra can destroy the planets totally. And Indra was using all of them with full power continuously on Govardhan alone. But because Govardhan was in touch with Krishna, nothing was happening to Govardhan. In fact, कहते ना एक बाल भी बांका नहीं कर पाया, हिंदी में बोलते हैं, it's a saying. So in fact, even the little freshmost grasses which were growing on Govardhan, even the freshmost leaves growing on the saplings on the top of Govardhan did not get affected by Indra's thunderbolts and everything. In fact, the small birds and the deer and the insects and the animals, they were looking at Indra from the top of Govardhan, and they were saying like, poor Indra Prabhu, trying too hard, nothing happening. And why nothing was happening? Because Krishna's touch was there to go over them. As long as in our life also we remain in touch with Krishna by chanting his names, by remembering him, by being in contact with his devotees, none of the terrible situations in our life can actually affect us truly. And when we are not in touch with Krishna, so sooner or later we'll get affected by something or other in this world. That's the nature of this world. So on the top, all these things were happening, and below it was the most wonderful festive time ever experienced by Vrindavan Vasis. So sorry, yeah. So this was like all their heart's desires were fulfilled. They were just amazed, totally amazed. Yashoda Maya was telling Krishna, you must be tired. Let me feed you. And all the Gopas were thinking, hey Krishna, तुमने बहुत देर से उठा लिया, okay? अभी I think you should like little bit relax, you know. So Krishna said, are you sure? They said, yeah, we are sure. So Krishna just left like for 1 inch. For a moment, for 1 inch, Krishna left Govardhan. And immediately, so they had all put their sticks. You see, all them are putting their sticks na, to support Govardhan. That's how they had said, कि अब हम संभाल लेंगे, तुम छोड़ दो. जैसे कृष्ण ने थोड़ा सा ढीला छोड़ा, immediately all their sticks start falling down, and Govardhan was. Ooh. So then Krishna asked them, "Are you sure I should leave it?" They said, "No, no. I think next time we will do. This time you only do." So actually, and Radharani and Gopis, they were exchanging glances with Krishna, like in a hidden way. And some of the elderly Gopas, they noticed the Gopis and the Gopas. So they told Radharani, because Krishna was trembling whenever Radha looked. So they said, hey Radharani, you have your exchanges later on. You know, we all will die if Govardhan slips from his hand because of your glance. So actually, the cows, they were just looking at Krishna. Because they all wanted this opportunity to drink the Amritam of Krishna's darshanam. And Krishna with one hand started playing flute. One hand he was holding Govardhan, and with another hand he started playing flute. And it was like, my Lord, they all were lost. Krishna's darshan right in front of their eyes. Krishna is playing flute. Krishna is there with them. And it was like they didn't want these moments to ever end. The breeze which was flowing from the direction of Krishna coming into their nostrils. Krishna's beauty and his love and his qualities were conquering their hearts. It was undescribable. और ऊपर क्या चल रहा है? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that we should be like Govardhan. A devotee of the Lord should be like Govardhan. He should be willing to face the difficulties and the terrible situation of this world, while below he is facilitating Lord's pastimes. He should provide service so that all the devotees and Krishna are happy, exchanging love with each other. And while he should be willing to serve and face the challenges. That is a character of a devotee. That is the DNA of a devotee, which is described by the example of Govardhan. And very soon, Indra actually realized that, because all his powers had gone and nothing could be done, and people were laughing at him, and he just understood, actually, I was simply proud, I was egoistic, and I didn't realize who is Krishna. So then he finally stopped, and by by the power of heat of Sudarshan Chakra, the entire Vrindavan was again, dried up. Like, dried up means the excess water was gone. And Krishna requested all the Vrindavan Vasis that, please, all of you, now you can go out back to your homes and your farms and your villages. But nobody was willing to move from there. It was very difficult for Krishna to actually convince them, cajole them and explain to them. And then the cows, they were not moving. The calves, they were not moving. And Krishna with his eyes, like, they say, oh, cowherd man does not. So Krishna with his eyes actually was like conveying to them. Somehow or other they agreed to move out. But as they were moving out, they reached to the boundary of Govardhan. Somehow or other they again just had a look back at Krishna. They again ran back and came to him. And all the cows started licking Krishna from all directions while Krishna was holding Govardhan. And Krishna said, please, please, I'm feeling tickling sensation, please. Govardhan may fall off from my hand, please move. And then somehow, with great difficulty, it took hours for Krishna to convince them to please move out. And that's how they moved out actually. And then Krishna slowly came out when everyone was out of danger. And then Krishna kept Govardhan back at its place. And then Krishna moved around Vrindavan to see if there is any damage left still to be repaired. And Indra wanted to beg forgiveness from Krishna, but then Krishna was not ready to listen. He was not even looking at Indra. How come? How dare you try to trouble and in fact try to kill my own devotees? These devotees are most dear to me. How can you try this? How did you do it? So Krishna was very upset, visibly upset, and Indra understood the mess which he had created. Indra ran to Brahma, Shiva, nobody could help him. Brahmaji told him that he should go to a devotee of Krishna, who Krishna loves and who loves Krishna. So, and then you should request that devotee to plead Krishna on your behalf. And that's what Indra did. He had to finally go to a cow, a simple cow. So Krishna taught through the example of Indra in Govardhan Leela that Krishna can be approached only through his devotees, only those who are very dear to him. Even if somebody is a king like Indra, a very powerful demigod like Indra, ultimately he has to become humble in front of the devotees of the Lord. So then Indra came to Mother Surabhi, and then he bowed down to her, requested her, and she was very simple-hearted, and she understood. She said, "Oh, I'll go to Krishna." So she went to Krishna and she pleaded on behalf of Indra that poor Indra has understood. It happens, people make mistakes little. We should not. We should actually forgive them. We should accept them. See, he's a good devotee now. And Krishna was so upset with that. He said, "Actually, I want to punish this fellow, but because you are telling me, I cannot overlook that request." So then Krishna accepted Indra back, and this is where you see in the 10th canto, 20. This is how Indra actually started then begging forgiveness from Krishna, and this white stream which you see is the shower of heavenly Ganges water which he used to do Abhishek to Krishna while begging forgiveness. And he claimed Krishna to be real Indra and real Govinda. So this is the lesson, and this is also the pastime by which you can see that Krishna is supreme to Indra and Chandra and everyone. So this is the beginning of the 10th chapter where Krishna claims this, and we'll stop here. It is 7 o'clock, and we'll continue next week, and we'll be able to cover the chapter number 10 fully. Okay. So thank you for your time and attention. Hare Krishna. So today we missed some of our other devotees. I think Naman and Ashwini and I don't remember. I think one or two more. Someone was not there. Okay, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna. So we'll meet then again the next week, Saturday. Thanks all for joining. Hare Krishna.